Class, welcome back to your favorite subject, and our discussion for today is about completing the audit. Completing the audit. Uy, patapos na tayo sa review natin for audit theory. Completing the audit na tayo. Sir, ano ba ibig sabihin ng completing the audit? Basically, class, these are procedures performed at the end of audit. Okay? End of audit. For example, we started our audit engagement on September. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So around March to April natin ginagawa yung completing the audit procedures. Okay? And also, ibang tawag dito, class, is wrapping up procedures. Basically, we're wrapping up our audit engagement. And these procedures are necessary and required by the PSA. Okay? So, kailangan yan. Now, gagawin natin, class, later, iisa-isahin natin yung completing the audit procedures, and then I'll tell you yung mga things to remember, key points to remember for each of the procedure. Okay? Now, yung completing the audit procedures, mostly subjective judgment yan. And because of that, ang magpe-perform yan yung senior associates and managers. So tayo, as junior associates, wala pa tayong masyadong involvement pagdating sa stage na yan. Okay? Unlike test of controls and substantive testing, since very objective yung gagawin mo doon, bulk of your work as a junior associate, ayun, sa TOC and substantive testing. Okay? Now, class, before we continue yung completing the audit, i-reviewin muna natin yung stages in audit. Ito kalagay. Stages in audit. Well, master nyo na yung stages in audit. And alam natin, very useful to kasi may mga questions na pag alam mo yung stages in audit, madali mo mai-eliminate yung ibang choices. Okay? So, recall muna natin, class. Stage number 1 is, ang tawag natin doon, preliminary engagement activities. Stage 2 is audit planning. Stage 3, understanding internal controls. Stage 4 is test of controls. Stage 5, substantive testing. And last stage is completing the audit. And last time, class, yung topic natin, if you still remember, is about audit sampling. So, as I mentioned before, yung audit sampling, ina-apply natin yan during TOC and substantive testing. Okay? So, yun yung stages in audit. Now, since nasa completing the audit stage na tayo, which is the last stage, mas maganda kung makita natin yung ulit yung bigger picture or the overall picture of an audit engagement or audit process. So let's have our subject company for today. It's Philippine Airlines. Okay, Philippine Airlines or PAL. Okay, so for example, class, SGP tayo. Okay, SGP, and client natin is Philippine Airlines. Sige natin pa natin i-apply, class, yung stages na yan. So mabilis lang para lang ma-refresh natin yung concepts. Start muna tayo sa preliminary engagement activities. Let's say, class, nagsimula yung engagement by September. Okay, ano ba yung ginagawa natin sa preliminary engagement activities? Well, sa stage na yan, basically, yung concern natin is client relationship. Okay? So, are we gonna continue yung client? Mag-a-accept ba tayo? Or i-reject natin yung client? Okay? So, syempre, ang magiging basis natin dito is the integrity of the client. For example, si PAL, 3 years nating client yan. Okay? So, recurring client siya. And sa experience natin, very cooperative naman yung management. Binibigyan tayo ng supporting documents, ng evidence, hindi sakit sa ulo. Okay? So, okay na okay yung integrity of the management. So, we decided na, sige, push through natin yung engagement natin with Philippine Airlines. Okay? What else? Pag ginagawa natin, class, sa preliminary engagement activities, basically, kailangan natin, lalo na tayo, as junior associates, bago tayo sa industry, bago tayo sa audit, kailangan matutunan muna natin yung industry and yung business ni Philippine Airlines. Okay? So, sa research natin, well, alam natin na lagyan natin dito preliminary engagement activities. Alam natin, class, na si Philippine Airlines belongs to the airline or aviation industry. Okay? So, syempre, kailangan mo natin malaman yung bigger picture about Philippine Airlines bago natin simulan yung audit. Okay, so inaral din natin, class, yung organizational structure or yung corporate structure of PAL. Okay, so yung parent company pala, class, ni PAL is si LTG or Lusiotan Group. we know, si Lucio Tan, siya may-ari ng Philippine Airlines. So, si Lucio Tan Group, okay, meron siyang isang subsidiary, okay? Ang pangalan is PAL Holdings Inc. Okay, PAL Holdings Inc. or PHI. Ayan, PHI. And then, under PHI, actually, class, may tatlo yan. No? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, dito sa gitna, lagay natin si Philippine Airlines, which is, well, basically, ito yung client natin, Philippine Airlines or PAL. And then, dito naman, under PHI, okay, si PAL Holdings Inc., nandyan si Zuma Holdings. Okay? And then, isa pa dito, ang pangalan naman class is PR Holdings Inc. Ayan. And then, actually, under Zuma, may isa pa. May isa pang company yan. Ang pangalan naman class is Air Philippines Corporation. Ayan. So, ito yung class yung corporate structure. Basically, ito yung client natin, si Philippine Airlines. So, may parent company siya. Ang pangalan is PAL Holdings Inc. Meron pa siyang ultimate parent, which is the Lucio Tan Group. Okay? So, ayan, kahit paano, medyo familiar na tayo with the structure. And then, syempre, during preliminary engagement activities, dapat alamin din natin, class, sino ba yung competitors of Philippine Airlines? Well, pinakamalapit na competitor niya is Cebu Pacific. And meron pang iba, si AirAsia, okay? Si Cathay Pacific, okay? Eva Air, Korean Air, yung mga international carriers, yun yung mga direct competitors ni Philippine Airlines. So, tingnan natin class na yung airline industry pala is regulated by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines or the CAAP. Okay, yun yung regulatory agency nila. Kung si BSP sa mga bangko, si CAAP naman sa mga airline companies. Okay? And tingnan natin class, syempre, ano ba yung revenue drivers or ano yung sources of revenue ng mga airline companies na yan? Well, basically sa transport of passengers and transport of cargoes. Ayan. So, yun yung mga inaral natin. Okay, so, alam na natin yung corporate structure, alam na natin yung industry. Tingnan natin, class, sino ba yung management of Philippine Airlines? Tingnan natin yung annual report of Philippine Airlines. Available naman yan sa website nila and sa PSE website because listed company yan. Nakita natin, class, well, obviously, si Lucio Tan yung chairman nila. Lucio Tan, the chairman, the president, and the CEO of Philippine Airlines. Okay, so nakita din natin class na si Susan Lee pala, yung CFO of PAL. Right, so may CEO and CFO. So, syempre, management, kailangan alamin din natin sino ba yung board of directors. Actually, pag tingnan mo yung board of directors, makikita mo family-owned talaga. Kaya Lucio Tan Group, family-owned talaga yung, actually tawag niya conglomerate. Okay, yung conglomerate na yan, family-owned. So, yung BOD niyan, nandyan si Carmen Tan. Actually, nandiyan din si Lucio Tan, and Joseph Tan. Sir, pwede pala yun? Yung management mo, Lucio Tan, part din siya ng board of directors? And then, puro family members pa yan, sir? Pwede pala yun, sir? Yes, actually pwede yan. As long as meron ka mga independent directors. So, independent directors of PAL, meron dalawa dyan. Si Gregorio Yu, okay, and si Janip Kua. Si Gregorio Yu and Janip Kua, sila yung independent directors and actually, sila din yung part of the audit committee. Audit committee is very important. Bakit class? Because yung audit committee, basically, dyan magre-report si audit team, tama? So yung communication will be between SGB tayo, okay, and the audit committee. Hindi tayo magre-report sa management kasi si management yung audit natin, okay? So may conflict of interest yun. So, kaya kailangan natin si audit committee which is composed of independent directors. Okay? So, what else? So, titingnan natin si Lucio Tan or si LTG Group. Okay? Si LTG Group, hindi lang pala PAL yung company niya kasi nga conglomerate yan. So, under LTG, maraming types of businesses. Diversified businesses. So, nandyan yung, according to our research, own pala niyan yung Philippine National Bank or PNB. It also owns Eton Properties, okay, a real estate development company. Actually, maraming properties yan sa yung Eton sa Makati. And sa kanya din pala yung Tanduay. And yung Fortune, which is the tobacco company. Ayan. So, very diversified conglomerate. Okay? And under Lucio Tan Group. Anyway, so balik tayo dito. And then, class, we also know na yung revenue drivers niyan, syempre, transport of passengers and cargo. So, ni-research natin class, yung fleet pala or yung mga planes pala ni Philippine Airlines, as of today, 97 yan in total. 97 planes. Wherein, 16 out of 97 is owned by Philippine Airlines and 81 out of 97 yung nililease lang ni PAL. Okay? Kaya class, if you remember, nung naging effective yung IFRS 16, yung accounting for leases, di ba, operating, dati pwedeng operating So ngayon, finance lease na lang. Tama? So because of that, dati operating lease to, nung nagkaroon ng finance lease, so tumaas yung liabilities ni PAL, okay, and then, kailangan na niya mag-depreciate. So, ang laking impact nun sa P&L ni PAL nung naging effective yung IFRS 16. But anyway, so ayan. Yun yung fleet ni PAL. And what else? Okay. So, ayan. So, basically, yan yung ginawa natin sa preliminary engagement activities. And very important na alam natin kung saan yung head office ni PAL. Basically, based yan sa Pasay. In CCP Complex, malapit sa Mall of Asia or MOA. Very important yan kasi class, pag nag-field work na tayo, expect mo na lagi kang pupunta sa office ni Philippine Airlines. Okay? Ayan. So, yun yung preliminary engagement activities. Doon naman tayo sa planning. September pa rin yan. Mabilis lang naman kasi yung preliminary engagement activities. Dito ko lalagay. Lagay ko dito planning. Sa planning stage, okay, if you remember class, dito tayo nagde-develop ng overall audit strategy. Okay? Class, ano nga ba yung overall audit strategy? Basically, pag-uusapan natin dyan, yung magiging focus of the engagement. So, ang mangyayari sa planning, isipin mo, syempre, dyan, mag-perform din yung team, okay? So, let's say merong isang partner, SGP tayo, di ba? So, isang partner, let's say napag-usapan natin with PAL, o sige, hindi lang Philippine Airlines yung audit natin, lahat ng subsidiary na yan, yung audit natin. Okay? Yun yung naging usapan, so yun yung scope of the audit. So, since malaki yan, sige, isang partner, usually kasi isang partner naka-in charge sa engagement. Since marami yan, let's say, tig-isang manager yan. So, 4 managers, and let's say, 8 na senior associates, and then, let's say, 10 na junior associates. Ayan, so malaki yung team. So, ang mangyayari dyan, class, during planning, literally, magmi-meet si audit team and yung top management dun sa head office nila. So, ayan, yung buong team na yan, makikipag-meet tayo kay Lucio Tan, Susan Lee, or sino man yung iba pang members of the top management. Mag-meet tayo, okay? And usually, ikaw as tayo, junior associate, ang gagawin mo doon, magmi-minutes of meeting ka. I-record mo yung pinag-usapan, okay? Yun lang gagawin mo doon. So, syempre, silang bahala makapag-usap doon. I-record mo lang yan. And pagdating mo sa office, pagbalik mo, summarize mo yun, and then i-email mo yung buong team. Okay, ganun lang yan. Ganun gagawin mo dyan. Wala pa tayong masyadong rule dyan. Anyway, so going back, overall audit strategy, pag-uusapan yan, yung audit team and yung management, basically, yun yung focus. Well, alam natin class, yung airline industry, yun yung one of the most adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So, magiging focus nito is ano yung impact ng COVID-19 pandemic sa financial statements of Philippine Airlines. Okay? So, yun yung magiging part of our overall audit strategy. Okay, next is, syempre, yung initial audit program natin. Basically, yung nasa audit program, nandiyan yung plan na procedures natin for each line item in the financial statement. So, sa cash, mag-bank recon tayo. For AR, kung meron ng AR, mag-aging schedule tayo or whatever. So, meron tayong detailed procedures for each line item. Nandun yun sa audit program. Okay? And class, if you remember, during planning stage, dyan din tayo nisa-set ng materiality level. So, meron tayong overall materiality and then meron tayong performance materiality. So, yung materiality threshold natin, since alam natin, class, na losses si PAL because of the pandemic, kasi konti lang yung naging flights, tama? Kaban yung ibang tayo from other countries, may maraming cancellation ng flights, okay, prohibited. So, yun. So, talagang yung revenue drivers, passengers and cargos, wala yan. Kaya losses talaga si PAL. So, mangyayari dyan, class, ang napag-decide natin na team, ibaba natin yung materiality level, okay? Para mas maging conservative yung audit natin. Alright? And ano pa ginagawa natin sa planning? Don't forget, dito na rin tayo nagko-compute ng acceptable level of or desired level of audit risk natin. Okay, audit risk formula. Okay, audit risk is equal to inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. Tingnan natin kung ano yung acceptable audit risk level natin. For this one, since malaking losses ni PAL, okay, bababaan natin yung risk, yung desired level of audit is natin, bababaan natin yan, okay? So, gusto natin maging conservative yung audit. Okay, so ayan. Ganyan ginagawa natin class during the planning stage. After that, doon na tayo sa understanding internal controls and TOC. Yung dalawa na yung class, probably from October to November. Ayan, October to November, 2 months natin gagawin yan. So, lagay natin dito, understanding internal controls. Sa understanding internal controls, so we know class na ang concern natin dito is the design and implementation of internal controls. Tama? And then sa TOC naman, yun yung operating effectiveness. So sa design and implementation of internal controls, ang gagawin natin dyan class, usually, hihingi tayo kay management ng manual of processes. Okay? Hingi tayo ng manual of process kay management. And then, pa-perform natin yung dito muna tayo. So, manual of processes, yun yung para sa design. Okay? So, literally, bibigyan ka ni management ng, maalala mo yung flow charting na discussion natin, flow chart. Okay. Pakita ni management, ayan, yun yung mga departments. Okay? Ganito nagpo-flow yung documents. Okay? Yun yung mga internal controls, may segregation duties, merong authorization, blah, blah, blah. So, makikita natin yung sa manual of processes to determine the design of internal controls. Tama? Design pa lang yun kasi possible na hindi talaga yun yung nangyayari. Now, for the implementation naman, pe-perform natin yung walkthrough. Kung maalala nyo yung walkthrough, pipili tayo ng isang transaction, ititrace natin sa buong, sa process. Okay? Now, class, sa understanding internal controls, dito pala mag-field work na tayo. May field work na yan. Okay? So, expect mo na, for example, SGB, pasok ka sa office 8 a.m., no? So, hintay mo lang yung mga senior associates mo. Siguro by 9 a.m., punta kayo sa Pasay, sa office. Alright? Punta kayo dyan. So, perform na kayo ng procedures. So, this one, walkthrough. Okay, hingi tayo ng isang document, actual document, and ititrace natin sa buong process, sa buong system. And then, siguro class hanggang mga 2 to 3 p.m. Ayan, para iwas sa rush hour. Babalik na kayo ng office niyan. Alright? Pagbalik mo ng office, puro documentation ka. Kasi pag sa client, ang goal mo doon, hingi ka ng mga supporting documents. Doon mo i-perform procedures. Inquiry, observation, re-performance. Pagdating mo sa office, document mo. Okay? So, documentation is very important in audit. So, pag document mo as junior associate, si senior associate mo, yung mag-check nun. Okay? Ng documentation mo. Anyway, so ayan. So, field work na tayo. Pagdating mo sa office, mga 3 p.m., ayun, especially during busy season, mag-stay ka doon. Siguro mga 9 p.m., 10 p.m. every day. Okay? Minsan, Saturday, lagi may pasok na Saturday. Okay? Minsan, Sunday, meron din. Okay? So, be prepared sa ganun. And then, dati yung time ko class, umaabot pa na yan. Pag sobrang talagang busy season, maabot na midnight. Minsan, yung iba, doon na natutulog sa office. Overnight sila. Okay? Ganun yung culture kasi sa audit firm. Kasi class, imagine, junior associate ako, for example, inassign sa akin si PAL. Hindi lang si PAL yung client ko. Okay? Possible na 3 yung inassign sa akin or 5. Depende kung gaano karami yung client. Especially si SGB, sobrang daming ino-audit niyan. Kaya, let's say, overwork talaga yung mga tao doon, mga auditors. Pero that's okay kasi marami din naman talagang learnings. Anyway, so, ganun siya. So, again, understanding internal controls pala, nag-field work na tayo dyan. Let's go to, ano pa ginagawa sa understanding internal controls? Dapat malaman natin yung lahat ng departments ni Philippine Airlines. So, let's say, si PAL meron siyang operations department, nandito yung booking of flights, cancellation, or whatever. Meron siyang accounting department, finance department, okay? Ano pa? So, let's say meron siyang treasury department. Actually, class, ayan. Treasury department, in-audit ko dati yan ng PAL. Kasi may ano sila, may, di ba, si PAL, syempre gumagamit ng crude oil yan, ng fuel, tama? Para sa planes nila. Now, paiba-iba yung price yan everyday. Parang natutunan natin sa AFAR. Paiba-iba yan. Si PAL, nag-e-enter yan ng mga forward contracts. Okay? Para ma-fix niya yung kung magkano niya bibilin yung crude oil. Okay? So, kaya may treasury department yan. So, anyway, so in short, tingnan natin, aralin natin yung departments. Okay? Yung design muna niya and implementation, mag-o-observe tayo or mag-perform tayo ng walkthrough para magkaroon tayo ng understanding sa operations and internal controls. After that, punta tayo sa TOC. Sa TOC naman, alam natin class na ito yung operating effectiveness na. Okay? Operating effectiveness of internal controls. And again class, sa understanding internal controls, dito natin a-assess yung control risk. Okay? Sa planning, dyan yung inherent risk. Sa understanding and sa TOC, nandiyan naman yung control risk. So alam natin, yung audit risk formula natin, ang ultimate objective natin is para malaman what is the acceptable level of detection risk. Okay, so POC tayo, operating effectiveness, and ang important dito class, hindi lahat itetest natin. Okay? Lahat lang ng internal controls that have direct effect on the financial statements, okay? Or yung financial reporting objective, okay? Yun yung mga internal controls na itetest natin. If you remember, yung procedures natin dyan ay IOR. Inquiry, Inspection, Observation, Reperformance. Alright? Okay, so TOC tayo. Ayan. Expect buong month of November or October, November, fieldwork yan. Okay? Almost everyday fieldwork ka dyan. Alright. So after natin mag-TOC, dyan natin malalaman class yung, well, ano ba talaga yung acceptable level of detection risk natin? So let's say, mababa. Ayan. So dyan na tayo magpo-form ng nature, timing, and extent of our audit procedures, substantive procedures. Yung nature, more effective, timing sa year-end. So in this case, yung substantive testing natin, baka December natin start year-end. Tama? Extent naman, dadamihan natin yung sample size, okay? Audit sampling, okay? Damihan natin yung sample size para mas marami tayong i-test na transactions. Alright, so let's go to the fifth stage, which is substantive testing. The substantive testing class, again, syempre mga procedures yan. If you remember, ano yan eh? IOR din yan eh. Inquiry, inspection, observation, reperformance. Meron din siyang recalculation, okay? Meron din siyang confirmation and analytical procedures. Ayan. So, yun yung mga procedures natin for substantive testing. Intense yan kasi yung substantive testing na yung class, let's say from December to March. Ayan. December, January, February, March. Mga 4 months. Substantive testing yan. Kaya sabi ko last time, iyan yung bulk na gagawin mo pag nag-audit ka na. Alright? So, ayan. So, every day, punta ka rin sa client, no? Field work ka, perform yung procedures na yan for each line item sa financial statements. Pagbalik mo sa office, tsaka ka magdo-document. Alright? So, ayan. And also, since yung substantive testing, dyan natin tinetest yung amounts, mag-a-arrive tayo dyan sa mga audited balances. Tama? Audited balances. So, i-compare natin yung unaudited, yung binigay ni management, and yung audited natin, co-compare natin. So, possible na may mga proposed adjusting journal entries tayo. Okay? Yung parang ginagawa niyo sa audit problem. So, proposed adjusting journal entries, bigay natin kay client yan, dapat i-book ni client yun. I-adjust niya yung FS. If hindi niya i-adjust, makaka-apekto yun sa opinion na ibibigay natin to the client. Gets? Okay. What else? Alright, so again class, very important dito na during TOs, during understanding, actually lahat yan, buong process, no? Very important yung documentation. Tandaan yan. Pag nag-audit na kayo, documentation, isa sa pinaka-important yan. No? Yung mga working papers na in-upload ko sa group natin, ayan. Yung audit program, very important. Kasi kaya dapat talagang organize ka pa nag-audit ka. Maganda yung documentation mo. Yung referencing, indexing, dapat madali maintindihan ng senior associate mo yan. Later, I'll tell you kung bakit very important yung documentation na yan. Anyway, so, again, sa TOC and substantive testing, mag-a-apply tayo ng sampling dyan. Okay? Hindi lahat pa iti-test mo. Kasi for example, si PAD, hindi lahat ng flights yan iti-test mo. Okay? Selected lang. Right? Selected flights lang, and then, kaya magsasample tayo. Pero alam natin, class, sa audit sampling, may 3 things na very important dito. Kasi gusto nating i-manage yung sampling risk, okay, to an acceptable level. So, dapat tama yung sample selection method natin. So, let's say tayo as a team, sige, random sampling tayo. Okay? Number 2, sample size. Dapat appropriate sample size. In this case, mas marami yung sample size natin kasi mababa yung detection risk natin. Tama? And then yung projection to the population, since ang tinetest natin sample lang, dapat tama yung pag-project natin sa population or yung lahat ng transactions. Okay? Ayan. And after that, after substantive testing, so again, yan gagawin mo, bulk of your stay in audit firm. Doon naman tayo sa completing the audit. So usually class, again, siguro mga 3rd, 4th week of March, no? Up to sabihin natin second week of April, before mag-deadline ng April 15, okay? Completing the audit yung gagawin natin. Okay? Which is, basically, yan yung topic natin talaga for today. Okay? So, hopefully, na-refresh kahit paano yung concepts, yung stages in audit natin na yan. Alam nyo na yan. So, gusto ko lang talaga na makita nyo yung complete picture. Okay, now, balik tayo dun sa original natin na lesson, which is completing the audit. Class, okay lang ba ito yung i-erase ko? Kasi review lang naman to. Ito, i-retain muna natin yan. Okay? So, again, ang diskarte natin sa completing the audit procedures, isa-isahin natin yung class, no? Yung procedures na yan, and then explain ko sa inyo, okay? Ano yung mga gagawin natin as auditor, okay? For each of these procedure. Alright, so i-erase ko lang to. Meron tayong 9 procedures, okay? So, 9. Sige. So, first procedure natin, lagay ko dito, completing the audit procedures. First procedure natin, class, is review related party transactions, RPT na lang. As auditor, junior associate, or senior associate, kasi senior associate yung gumagawa niyan usually, and managers, gagawin natin, review related party transactions. Sir, ano ba yung RPT? Actually, class, sa IAS-24, sa FAR, na-discuss nyo na yan. IAS-24, nagbigay ng examples of related party transactions. And, nandyan din yung mga required disclosures. Okay? So, if you remember sa FAR nyo, diniscuss nyo na yung RPT. Okay. Mga examples doon, lagay ako ng examples dito ha. Familiar kayo dyan. For example, class, parent and subsidiary. Related party yan. Okay? Close members of the family. Okay, what else? Key management personnel. And directors and shareholders. Ayan. O ayan, some examples of related party ito yung related parties, okay? Related parties yan. Ngayon, pag may transaction si PAL with any of them, okay? Related party transactions ang tawag doon. Got it? Okay, so, lagay natin, sir, ano yung responsibility ni management pagdating sa related party transactions? Actually, class, yung responsibility ni management, tandaan mo to, is to properly identify, record, and disclose related party transactions. Si management bahala dyan kasi si management yung may responsibility sa FS. So, again, sa IAS-24, yung mga required disclosures dyan. Si management, Lucio Tan, Susan Lee, or top management, kailangan nilang identify, i-record, i-disclose lahat ng related party transactions. Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, class, alin ba dito yung mga related parties? Parent is a subsidiary. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin. Si PAL, tama? Si PHI, related party niyan. Si Lucio Tan Group, related party niyan. Ito, PR, si Zuma, si Air Philippines, related parties ni PAL yan. Gets? Close members of the family, Carmen Tan, Lucio Tan, Joseph Tan. Key management personnel, Lucio Tan, Susan Lee. Director shareholders, ito, independent directors, Gregorio Yu, Janet Kua, yung mga yan, related parties yan ni Philippine Airlines. Gets? Okay, so na-identify related parties. Pag may transactions, ano pa yung ibang related parties? Ito, PNB, Eaton Properties, lahat yan related parties yan. Sir, ano ibig sabihin? Okay na kami, sir, sa related parties. Ano ibig sabihin ng related party transactions? For example, class, si PNB. Bangko, so may pera, tama? Ngayon, let's say si PAL, since losses siya, wala siya masyadong sources of cash flows, kailangan niya additional capital. So, ang ginawa ni PNB, sige, PAL, since related party tayo, magpapaloan ako sa'yo, ha? Okay? 100 million. Ayan, pang-invest mo yan. PAL. Alright? O pambayad mo sa mga ibang liabilities mo, nagpa-loan. Alright? Ngayon, ang naging terms, sige, 3% na lang yung rate per year. Pero let's say, ang current market rate talaga is 10%. Sabi ni PNB, sige, related naman tayo, 3% na lang. And then, bigyan ka ng grace period for 3 years. Okay? Huwag ka muna magbayad ng interest for 3 years. Okay? Grace period yan. And then, yung term ng loan, gawin natin 15 years. 15 years to pay. Uy, sobrang favorable ng terms, tama? Sobrang favorable yan. Kasi class, ang tawag natin dito is Well, si PNB and si PAL, hindi sila independent. Okay? Related parties sila. So, ibig sabihin, the transactions between them, so dahil dito, related party transactions are not usually at arm's length transaction. Okay? Arm's length transaction. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng arm's length transaction? Ibig sabihin, pag independent kayong dalawa, okay? Hindi ka naman mag-charge ng 3% eh. Tama? Hindi ka mabibigay ng sobrang haba na grace period. Ang tawag doon, arm's length transaction. Pero yung related parties are not usually at arm's length transaction. Usually favorable yung terms yan. Tama? Ngayong class, ang responsibility ni management, identify yung related parties, i-disclose yung transaction na to, okay? And si auditor naman, ang importance class ganito yan. Kasi isipin mo, si users of the FS, makikita niya, ay bakit ganun? Bakit 3% lang yung rate? Tapos may 3 years na grace period. Dapat, i-explain ni management yan, uy, ganyan yung terms because related parties yan. Okay? Related kami kay PNB, kaya ganyan yung terms na binigay. Para hindi maging misleading sa users of the FS, dapat properly nakadisclose yung related party transactions because they are not usually at arm's length transaction, yung terms nila. Gets? Okay. Ito yung responsibility ni management. Sir, ano yung responsibility ni auditor? Si auditor naman class, ang gagawin lang niya dito. First, okay, ang gagawin niya, obtain understanding. Okay? Yung transaction. Obtain understanding of the related party transaction, mag-i-inquire siya kay management. Okay? Mag-itanong siya kay management, interviewin niya si management, oy, pwedeng pa-explain ko ano kung bakit related parties yan, pwedeng pa-explain ko ano yung transaction na nangyari. Yan yung una. Number 2, si auditor, i-check niya. Okay? Check if properly disclosed in FS. Ulitin ko, ang responsibility ng management, siya yung mag-identify, record, especially mag-disclose. Okay? Si auditor, ang responsibility niya, dapat maintindihan niya, obtain understanding. Paano niya maintindihan? Mag-inquire sa kay management, interview niya sa management, kaya ka nag-field work. Second, i-check niya, i-audit niya if talagang nakadisclose. Hindi si auditor mag-disclose, si management, i-audit lang ni auditor. Gets? Okay. Di ba class, sa start ng audit, binibigyan ka ng unaudited FS ni management. Titignan mo dun kung nakadisclose mo talaga yung related party transactions. If hindi, i-advise mo si management na i-disclose niyan. Pag hindi dinisclose si management, maapektuhan yung opinion na ibibigay natin sa financial statements. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, review of subsequent events. Review of subsequent events. Okay, actually class, yung review of subsequent events has IAS 10 yan. Okay? Related sa FAR, yung mga pinag-aaralan natin, no? IAS 10. Subsequent events or events occurring between the balance sheet date and date of auditor's report. Date of auditor's report. Okay? Ulitin ko. Events, yung subsequent events, events occurring between balance sheet date and date of auditor's report. For example, class, ito yung December 31. December 31, ang tawag natin dyan, this is the balance sheet date or the financial statement date. Okay? Balance sheet date or financial statement date. Let's say this is April 1, okay? Which is the date of auditor's report. Date of auditor's report. So, yung nangyari between December 31 and April 1, ang tawag natin dyan, subsequent events. Okay? Now, sir, bakit important yung subsequent events? Ito muna tayo. Sir, para saan ba yung date of auditor's report na yan? Well, sa next meeting natin, pag-aaralan natin yung auditor's report, basically, class, sobrang important yan because the responsibility of the auditor is up to this point. Okay? Of the auditor is up to this date. Yung mga responsibility ni auditor, for example, ito, auditor's responsibility yan, or lahat ng responsibility si auditor, hanggang dito lang. Yung mangyayari after that, wala nang responsibility si auditor dyan. Kaya very important yung date of auditor's report. Sa example natin, it's April 1. April 2 onwards, wala nang responsibility si auditor. Okay. Sir, bakit kailangan natin review yung subsequent events? Kasi class, may dalawang klaseng subsequent events. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na adjusting event. or also called type 1 event, type 1, and non-adjusting event, or type 2. Okay? Ito, review na lang to. Alam nyo na yun sa FAR. Okay? Type 2. Now, yung adjusting event, obviously, it requires adjustments. Kaya adjusting. Non-adjusting naman class, non-adjusting event, hindi kailangan ng adjustment yan. Kailangan lang yan ng disclosure. Okay? Disclosures lang yan. Sa di-disclose, sa notes to financial statements. Alright? Actually, yung IAS 10, nagbigay ng mga examples yan. Adjusting event ka if meron kang conditions existing as of the balance sheet date. In this case, December 31. Pag yung condition nag-i-exist na dyan, adjusting event yon. Bigyan natin ng example. Well, ito yung example sa IAS 10. Settlement of litigation. Okay? Ano pa? Write-off of AR. Okay? Ganito yan. For example, class ng December 31, no? Nag-record si PAL. Debit sa litigation, ha? Debit loss, credit liability. Ito yung estimate ni PAL, 10 million. For example, may pending case. Okay, 10 million. Ngayong class, let's say Feb 28. Okay, Feb 28, sinettle siya. Binayaran ni PAL. Alright? Therefore, meron siyang entry na debit liability, credit cash, 10 million. Kaya adjusting event yan. Yung entry na yung class, maapektuhan niya yung balances dito. Therefore, sa December 31, wala ka ng liability. Kaya tinawag na adjusting event. Nangyari dito, pero i-adjust mo dito. Gets? Okay. Ito rin, write-off of AR. Di ba? Meron kang ADA dito. May AR, ADA ka dyan. Nag-write-off ka. For example, debit ADA, credit AR. Okay. Let's say 20,000. Dito siya nangyari, pero since adjusting event siya, dun mo siya ibubook. So, ibig sabihin, yung ADA mo, babawasan 20, AR mo, babawasan 20. Non-adjusting event, disclosure lang yan. For example, class, ano yung example niyan? Issuance of shares. Ito yung mga example sa IAS 10. Issuance of shares. And mga catastrophe. Let's say, may fire, may flood, or whatever na nangyari dito, non-adjusting event yun. I-disclose mo lang, hindi mo i-adjust sa December 31. Alright? Now, ang pinakamagandang non-adjusting event na example para kay PAL is the implementation of the CREATE law. Yung CREATE kasi, na-implement siya first quarter of 2021. Tama? Dito. Non-adjusting event yun. Hindi mo i-adjust to. Okay? Except yung mga affected na provisions. Pero generally, non-adjusting event yun. I-disclose lang sa FS na as of this date, naging effective yung CREATE law. Alright? Sige. Now, tingnan natin. Sir, ano yung responsibility ni management? Responsibility ni management for subsequent events. Okay? Subsequent events are properly identified. Okay? And recorded or disclosed. And recorded or disclosed. So again, since si management yung may responsibility ng FS, so yung bahala mag-identify, and if it's a adjusting event, kailangan niya i-record. If it's a non-adjusting event, kailangan niya i-disclose. Gets? Hindi si auditor gagawa niyan. Ang gagawin ni auditor, the auditor's responsibility, when it comes to subsequent events, verify that the management has properly recorded or disclosed. Okay? So basically, as auditor, ino-audit lang natin talaga si management. Ang mag-identify, magre-record, mag-disclose si management. Ang gagawin natin as auditor, i-verify lang natin. I-audit natin si management. Uy, check natin. Ni-record ba talaga lahat ng adjusting events? Dinisclose ba yung mga non-adjusting events? Gets? If hindi ni-record or dinisclose ni management, i-advise natin si management na i-record or i-disclose niya. If hindi niya gawin, makaka-apekto sa opinion natin. Pag ginawa niya, hindi okay. Alright? So, okay lang yan. Laki na tayo. Number 1, number 2. Yan na naman yung mahaba. Yung iba maikli na class. So, 9 yan ha. Maikli lang yung iba. Next is, wait lang. Pwede ko na bang erase to? I think pwede na. Okay, nagawa ko na yata yung examples dito. Yes, pwede ko na erase to class. So, ayan. So, chill muna kayo dyan habang nag-erase ako. Ayan, so isa-isayin natin ha. Naka 2 na tayo. Third one natin is, erase ko muna para may space tayo. Actually, few topics na lang class yung remaining natin sa audit theory. So, meron tayong auditor's report. We have IT audit. Pinaka-boring yung IT audit. We have Code of Ethics and RA 9298. Mabilisan lang yun. Actually, yung pinaka-matagal na discussion. Tapos na tayo dun. Yung substantive testing and TOC. Right? Sige. Now, let's go to number 3. Number 3 natin class, actually medyo related pa rin siya dun sa number 2, no? Number 3 natin is verify litigations and claims. Ayan. So as senior associate, verify natin yung litigations and claims. So ano ibig sabihin litigations and claims? Yun yung mga ongoing cases, okay, of Philippine Airlines. Kasi class, in accounting, alam natin, for example, tayo yung defendant, no? As PAL. Si PAL yung defendant. Titignan natin yung ongoing cases if probable and or measurable. Okay? Alam natin sa accounting yan. So kapag probable and measurable, kailangan tayo mag-set up ng provision. Mag-a-accrue tayo. Tama? Ngayon, if probable or measurable, hindi both or, ano gagawin natin dyan? I-disclose na natin. Tama? Disclose yan as contingent liability. Got it? So that's why very important yan. Kasi may epekto yan sa financial statements natin. Alright? Now, ganito gagawin ni auditor dyan. So si auditor, number 1, ang gagawin niya, mag-i-inquire siya sa management. Okay? Mag-i-inquire siya. Mag-a-ask sa kay management na, okay, management, pwede mo ba akong bigyan ng list of litigations and claims? Okay, so si PAL usually, pag tingnan mo yung audited FS ni PAL, usually ang mga ongoing cases niya, usually mga tax cases, no? So tax cases related to excise tax. Kasi si PAL, again, di ba, bumibili siya ng mga crude oil, tama? May excise tax yun. Okay? May excise tax yun yung fuel. Ngayon, may mga overpayment or may mga underpayment si PAL. Alright? So, ongoing tax cases yan. Yung iba na under appeal kay CTA, Court of Tax Appeals. Yung iba sa Supreme Court, and so on and so forth. Also, class, yung iba pang tax cases ni PAL, yung iba pang cases niya, yung mga labor disputes sa collective bargaining agreement or CBA, and also yung mga kasi nag-lay off ng employees si PAL. Actually, thousands of employees yung ni-lay off niya because of pandemic, okay? So, yung mga ongoing labor cases din yan. So, let's say yan, tax cases and labor disputes. Yan yung litigations and claims si PAL. Ang gagawin natin class as auditor, okay, kausapin natin si management. Management, provide ka naman sa akin ng list. Alright? And then, hihingin din natin kay management yung assessment niya. Okay? Management's assessment of the outcome. Of the outcome. Bakit, sir? Kasi class, dito mo malalaman kung probable and measurable. Okay? Kung ano yung assessment ni management. Tama? So, assessment ni management, ako, mukhang malaki chance matatalo kami sa tax cases na yan. Therefore, kailangan mag-record ka ng loss and liability. Okay? Sabihin naman ni management, hindi, most likely manalo tayo dyan. Pag ganun, i-disclose lang natin. Gets? Okay. Now, yan yung first na gagawin ni auditor. Kaya lang class, take note na inquiry yan, dapat skeptic tayo pagdating sa audit. Hindi tayo basta-basta maniniwala lang kay management. Okay? So yun yung primary evidence natin. Mag-inquire tayo kay management. Yung corroborating evidence natin. Alright? Or yung secondary evidence. Gagawa tayo or magsisend tayo ng letter of audit inquiry. Letter of audit inquiry. Sir, ano yan? Yung letter of audit inquiry class, binibigay natin yan sa client's legal counsel. Or basically, yung lawyer ni PAL. Okay? Yung lawyer nila. So, gagawin natin class, si management, i-ask natin si management na mag-prepare siya ng letter of audit inquiry, bibigay sa atin, si auditor. Okay? And then tayo, yung mag-send kay lawyer. Tama? And then si lawyer, sa atin ibabalik yan. Gets? Familiar ba? Diba parang confirmation letter? Confirmation letter, si management yung gagawa. Bibigay kay auditor, yung audit, isi-send sa customer, si customer magre-reply kay auditor. Ganun din dito. Si management yung gagawa, hindi si auditor. Si auditor lang yung mag-audit and siya yung magsisend kay lawyer. Okay? Si lawyer, babalik kay auditor yan. Sir, ano yung nandiyan sa letter of audit inquiry? Well, basically, guys, ito yung corroborating evidence natin. Papa-assess natin kay lawyer. Okay? O sige, lawyer, ito yung list na binigay sa amin ni management. Ito yung assessment ni management. Pwede bang pa-verify sa amin kung appropriate yan or reasonable yung assessment of the management? Gets? Okay. So, kapag napansin natin, uy, probable and measurable, dapat mag-record ng loss si management and liability. Pag hindi, okay lang, magdi-disclose na lang. Okay, ulitin ko, primary evidence natin, si management, secondary evidence or corroborating evidence, si client's legal counsel or through the use of letter of audit inquiry. Okay, that's number 3. Let's go to number 4. Ito na lang. Number 4, perform analytical procedures. Analytical procedures, alam nyo na yung class. Analytical procedures, basically, ina-analyze natin yung numbers. But this time, audited amounts na. Tama? Kasi tapos na yung substantive testing, meron na tayong audited amounts. Yun na ina-analyze natin. Ratio analysis, trend analysis, variance analysis. Actually, hindi lang yan. Meron din tayong benchmarking. No? So, benchmarking versus competitors. Okay, competitors. And also, class, just to recall, yung analytical procedures, tingnan natin kung saan required yan by PSA. Okay? So, during planning, ginagawa natin yan to determine yung mga unusual fluctuations. During planning, during substantive testing, and during completion. Okay? Or during completing the audit. Ngayon, class, sa PSA, required tayo sa planning, hindi tayo required dyan. Completion, required tayo. Pero sa substantive testing, again, usually ginagamit din yan, no? In practice. Pero hindi yan required by the PSA. Ang difference, class, again, sa completion, audited amounts na yung ina-apply natin ang analytical procedures. Pag planning, unaudited pa lang yan. Okay? Ganyan siya. Now, pag tinignan natin, class, yung FS ni PAL, no? Makikita natin na, uy, sa year 2020, again, sobrang affected. Okay? Baka pinaka-affected nga yung airline industry. Siguro hotel industry din. Pero yung airline talagang sobrang affected by COVID-19 yan. Kung titignan mo, class, yung revenues ni PAL, 2020 versus 2019, okay, versus 2019, yung revenues niya bumaba ng 64%. Ganun kalaki yung binaba. Alright? What else? Yung operating expenses ni PAL, well, anong nangyari kasi dyan, si PAL, siyempre, walang operations. Bumaba din yung operating expenses. Nag-lay off ng thousands of employees, bumaba yung OPEX. So, bumaba din ng 46%. And then, yung net loss ni PAL. Okay? Well, actually, net loss na siya noong 2019. Pero noong 2020, mas malaki yung net loss niya. Tumaas ng 86%. Ganun kalaki. Actually, from 10 billion na net loss noong 2019, naging 73 billion net loss in 2020. Ganun kalaki yung jump ng losses ni PAL. Okay? So, ganyan nangyari. Ngayon, class, sa analytical procedures, ganito gagawin natin. Okay. So, again, ratio analysis, test of mga reasonableness of the audited amounts. Titignan natin din, compare din natin sa competitors yan. Sige, tignan natin kung reasonable yan. I-compare natin sa audited figures naman ni Cebu Pacific. Okay? Since direct competitors sila, most likely, ganyan din yung epekto kay Cebu Pacific. If malkalayo masyado, for example, si Cebu Pac, bumaba ng, let's say, 85%. Si PAL, 64 lang. Parang layo ah. Sa net loss naman, for example, si Cebu Pac, let's say, tumaas ng 200%. For example lang si PAL, 86%. Parang magkalayo masyado yun ah. Pag ganun, pag masyado magkalayo, according to our analytical procedures, baka kailangan pa natin mag-perform ulit ng substantive testing. Okay? Pero pag reasonable naman, hindi na kailangan. Okay? Ganun lang siya. So again, analytical procedures, usually test of reasonableness yan. Test of reasonableness. Okay? Alright. Sige. Next natin is, ilan na tayo? 4. Okay. Number 5. Alin kaya tatanggalin ko dito? Related party transactions, I think, ito na lang. I-retain natin yan kasi mas marami kasi ulad dyan. So, tanggalin natin to. Erase, erase. So, make sure na-copy nyo, class, ha. Okay, number 5 is assess going concern assumption. Assess going concern assumption. Ano ba yung going concern assumption? Okay, so alam natin yan sa conceptual framework. Under conceptual framework class sa FAR, okay, ibig sabihin ng going concern assumption, basically, yung assumption natin in preparing the FS is the entity, in this case PAL, is assumed to operate in the foreseeable future. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kaya mag-survive ni PAL in the foreseeable future. Yan din yung reason, yung going concern assumption, yan din yung klaseng reason kung bakit meron tayong accruals, meron tayong depreciation, nagma-mark to market tayo, is because of the going concern assumption. Okay? Ngayong class, basically, yun yung ability to survive. Kung kaya ba mag-survive ng company. Going concern assumption yan. Now, yung opposite nito class is, yung opposite niyan, liquidation assumption. Pag hindi na kaya mag-survive, liquidation assumption na. So in this case, i-measure na natin lahat ng amounts in the FS at liquidation values or net realizable values. Gets ba? Okay. Going concern, yun yung normal. No? Pag hindi na, opposite niyan, liquidating concern. Lahat naka-NRV na. Bebenta na natin. Parang gano'n. Now, tingnan natin class. Ano sir yung responsibility ni management pagdating sa going concern assumption? Ito class, dalawa. Si management, siya yung bahala mag-assess the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay? Number 1 is assess. Number 2, disclose the assessment. Okay? Ulitin ko, si management ang responsibility niya pagdating sa going concern assumption. Siya yung mag-a-assess ng ability to survive ng company. Next naman, i-disclose niya. Dalawa, assessment and disclosure. Tingnan natin class, ano yung responsibility naman ni auditor pagdating sa going concern assumption. Tingnan mo to ha. Actually, tatlo yan. So, 1 and 2, si auditor, tatlo naman. Evaluate the appropriateness, okay, of management's use of going concern assumption. Okay? Tingnan natin, paano ba, di ba, nag-assess si management, tama? Si management nag-assess. So, siguro sinabi ni management, okay, ito yung plano namin in the future, mag-open kami ng flight sa ganitong area, or let's say mag-expand kami, blah, blah, blah. Yun yung assessment ni management. Okay? Because of that, because of our plans, magko-continue kami mag-survive. Ngayon, si auditor, kailangan niya i-evaluate yun. Okay? Reasonable ba yung assessment ni management? Nagme-make sense ba? Alright? Yung number 1. Number 2, evaluate if properly disclosed. Okay? Kasi in-assess nga, hindi naman din-disclose, so kailangan naka-disclose siya. Una, evaluate the appropriateness, and then second responsibility ng auditor, evaluate niya if naka-disclose. Okay? And number 3, ito very important. I-identify ni auditor based on management's assessment, okay? Yung two things, events and conditions that may give rise to business risks. So that muna, explain ko later. Ulitin ko, si auditor, based on the management's assessment, identified events and conditions that may give rise to business risks, and what are the management's mitigating factors? Mitigating factors. Or basically, ito yung plans ni management to deal with yung events and conditions that may give rise to business risk. Okay, so explain natin. Bigyan tayo ng example. Okay, so si Philippine Airlines, i-raise ko na to class, no? Again, pinakita ko yung figures kanina. Si Philippine Airlines, kung titignan natin yung December 31, 2020, FS niya, ito yung makikita mo dyan, class. Mayroon siyang net loss na, so again, nasan yan? 73 billion, okay? 73 billion. And then, meron siyang deficit or yung negative retained earnings na 88 billion. Deficit, ah? Okay, so negative retained earnings. Mas mataas din yung current liabilities ni PAL than current assets. by 3 billion. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Illiquid. Okay? Yung liquidity, di ba? Pag liquid kasi, mataas yung current assets mo than current liabilities. Si PAL, mas mataas yung current liabilities. So, illiquid siya or insolvent. Tama? And because of this, okay, and yung reason diyang class is because of, well, epekto ng COVID-19, epekto ng pandemic. Alright? And yung amounts na yan, magi-give rise dun sa uncertainty. Okay? Material uncertainty kung magsusurvive ba si Philippine Airlines. Ito siya. Events and conditions, yung pandemic that may give rise to business risk. Ano yung business risk? Ayan. Net loss, deficit, liquidity problems, may material uncertainty yan. Next meeting, pag-aaral natin yung auditor's report, gagawin natin example din si PAL. Pero makikita mo dong class, actually, ang binigay ni auditor na opinion dyan is disclaimer of opinion. Okay? Ever since, puro yan unqualified opinion. So next time, aralin natin yung different types of opinion. Unqualified, ibig sabihin, okay, yung FS ni PAL. Okay? Puro unqualified yan. Starting 2020, because of the pandemic, disclaimer of opinion. Okay? Ganun nangyari dyan. Ibig sabihin, disclaimer of opinion, in short, ang sinasabi ni SGV, no audit team, hindi namin alam kung magsusurvive si PAL. Yun yan. Related siya dito. Going concern assessment. Okay? Ni management. Now, ito yan. Tama? Events and conditions that may give rise to business risk. Siyempre, si PAL, si Lucio Tan, hindi basta-basta papayag yun na mabankrupt si Philippine Airlines. Meron siya mga mitigating factors. Ito yung plans ni PAL para i-counter yung epekto ng pandemic. Okay? So actually, today, no, na under recovery plan si Philippine Airlines. Okay? Actually, nag-seek sila ng help. Okay? For protection, no? Court protection against creditors. So, na-mention ko na dati yung FRIA or Financial Rehabilitation and Insolvency Act. So, basically, nagre-rehabilitate si Philippine Airlines. And ang ginagawa niya, class, yung mga recovery plans na yan, one of which is financial restructuring. Or, alam natin in accounting, debt restructuring. So, nakikipag-usap siya sa mga bangko, alright, na kung pwedeng i-restructure, siguro, bawasan yung interest rate or i-prolong yung terms, no? Let's say 10 years, gawing 15 years or whatever, or i-forgive yung unpaid interest. Currently, nakikipag-restructure si PAL. And yung mga bangko kasi, class, cooperative yan pagdating kay PAL. Kasi ang laki ng exposure nila dyan. Ang laki ng loans nila kay Philippine Airlines. And what else? And, ayan. Also, class, yung aside from banks, nagre-restructure din siya sa mga lessors. Diba naalala nyo, 81 ba yun out of 97 na aircrafts, nililist ni PAL yan, tama? So, nakipag-negotiate siya, baka pwedeng i-defer namin yung bayad ng lease payments. Okay, ganun siya. Next is, ayan, deferral of airport authority fees. As an airline company in the Philippines, kailangan magbayad ka ng airport authority fees. So, siguro parang franchise fee yan, no? So, nakikipag-usap si PAL na baka pwedeng i-defer yun. Siguro si CAAP yung binabayaran yan. So, I'm not really sure, pero ayan, isa sa mga ways ni PAL yan to deal with the pandemic. What else? Well, yung retrenchment program, actually, class, sobrang dami na wala ng trabaho because of this, no? Retrenchment program, si PAL, 2,000 plus employees, ni-layoff niya, okay? That's around 35% ng total employees natanggal, okay? And then, yung ano pa ginagawa ni PAL, disposal of assets, yung mga ibang assets na hindi niya ginagamit, or non-core assets, dinispose niya. And yung ibang planes, ni-return niya, okay? Returned, actually, 20 na leased aircrafts, okay? Binalik niya, kasi syempre, konti lang naman yung flights, wala siyang gagawin sa 20, binalik niya, nababawasan yung lease payment siya. In short, ang gusto ko lang ipakita, class, yung recovery plan na yan, ito siya. Ito yung mga mitigating factors to counter the effect of the pandemic, or yun yung events and conditions that may give rise to business risks. Alright? Okay. Sige. And then, let's go to number 6. Number 6. Important. Actually, important lahat eh. Number 6. Ito, ayoko muna siyang erase. Actually, ito na lang. Erase na natin to. Okay lang, class, erase ko na. Make sure na nakopy nyo. Actually, mga examples natin, kahit naman hindi mo makopy yan, for appreciation lang naman yan. Number 6 na tayo. So, ilan na lang? 6, 7, 8, 4 na lang. Okay, so mabilis na lang to, class. Number 6 is Obtain representation letter. Obtain management representation letter. Okay. Sir, ano ba yung management representation letter? Basically, sa objective niyan is to impress upon management its responsibility, okay, on the financial statements. So, take note na hindi si auditor yung responsible sa FS, si management. Para maging clear yan, clear between the auditor and management. So, sa completing the audit, hihingi tayo ng management representation letter. Sir, ano yun nandyan? Ito yung content niyang class. 5. Okay, number 1. Management acknowledges its responsibility on the FS. So, nakalagay doon, siyempre si management yung gagawa niyan, tama? Nakalagay doon, okay, we the management acknowledge the responsibility on the financial statements, okay? So, yun yung first part. Ito yung pinaka-important. Number 2, management has approved the FS. Okay? That's the second one. Number 3, nandun din class yung management acknowledges its responsibility on the internal controls. Naalala nyo, si management din yung responsible sa internal controls, not only sa FS, but also sa internal controls. Nandun yan sa management representation letter. Number 4, the management believes that the management believes that the uncorrected misstatements are immaterial. Okay? Plus, diba sa audit, hindi naman lahat ng misstatement kino-correct natin. Lahat lang ng material. Pag lumagpas ka sa threshold, sa materiality natin. If hindi, immaterial yon. So, lalagay dito ni management. O sige, yung audited FS namin, yung mga hindi na correct dyan, we ensure yun na immaterial lang yan. Okay? And then, number 5, the management has made available all financial records or evidence, okay, for the use of the audit team. Okay, binigay ni management lahat ng evidence sa kailangan ni audit team. Okay, ito yung content of the management representation letter. Ang objective niyan, impress upon the management or highlight natin kay management, emphasize natin sa kanya, ikaw yung may responsibility sa FS, ikaw yung may responsibility sa internal controls. Ayan. Basically, merong 5 content yan. And ito class, signed by the top management. Okay, usually, the CEO and the CFO. So in this case, sa example natin, si Lucio Tan, yung CEO, si CFO, si Susan Lee. Okay, sila yung signatory niyan. And then, address to the auditor, sa SGB, okay, address to the auditor, and yung date nito class, yung date of the management representation letter coincides with the date of the auditor's report. Okay? Asan yung auditor's report natin? Nandiyan pa ba? Ayun. So, April 1, date of auditor's report, yun din yung date of management representation letter. Okay? So, class, to recall, may mga different letters tayong na-encounter na. Okay? 5 actually. Naalala ko 5. Engagement letter, okay, yun yung contract between client and audit team. Confirmation letter, during substantive testing, nagko-confirm tayo ng cash balance, ng AR, what else? Management letter, yung management letter, yun yung mga improvements sa internal controls. Pwede natin i-suggest kay management. Letter of audit inquiry, yun yung sa abogado. Saan yan? Kanina. Yung corroborating evidence, okay? Yung litigations and claims. Letter of audit inquiry. And management representation letter. Iba yung management letter sa management representation letter. Yung management letter, improvements of internal control yan. Okay, so siningit ko lang since yun, na-encounter na natin yan. Okay, mabilis na to class. Number 7 is review adequacy of disclosures. Okay. Class, yung adequacy of disclosures, in practice, meron tayong ginagamit na disclosure checklist. Okay. Ganito yan, class. Explain ko sa inyo. Di ba, meron tayong audited FS? Tama. And kung alam nyo, yung audited FS, yung notes to financial statements, baka 90% of the audited FS, notes to financial statements. Ganun kahaba yun. Basically, yung notes, nandun lahat ng disclosures. Yun yung disclosures. And if you read the standards, yung IFRS natin, sa end of each standard, di ba nandun yung mga required disclosures? Yun yung boring basahin, di ba? Ito yung mga required disclosures. In practice, lahat yun, nakakompile. Checklist yan, okay? Ikaw, as junior associate, pinaka-boring ko na experience ko ever. So, meron kang audited FS ni PAL. Isipin mo oy, ito yung audited FS ni PAL. Ito yung disclosure checklist. Titignan ko sa notes to financial statements kung nag-comply sa audited or sa disclosure checklist, kung lahat naka-disclose accordingly. Ang kapal ng disclosure checklist yun, 3 days ko yatang ginagawa yun. Anyway, so review of adequacy of disclosures. Okay. Next is number 8, review of working papers. Well, sir, di ba yung working papers, nire-review yan all throughout? Yes, all throughout TOC, all throughout substantive testing, nire-review yan ni senior associate. Ito class, final review to. Before mo archiving. Bakit sir? Para saan yan? So final review, kumbaga last checking na ni senior associate yan, okay? Yung documentation mo, yung cross-referencing, etc. Before mo archive. Kasi class, kahit tapos na yung engagement, yung working papers na ginamit mo, gagamitin ulit yan next year. Okay? And, naalala nyo yung EQCR, yung Engagement Quality Control Review, yung surprise audit. For example, may isang partner sa EY US, pupunta dito. Surprise audit si PAL. Kukunin niya yung in-archive na working papers. Okay? Kaya very important yon. Kaya kailangan properly reviewed lahat ng working papers. So may final review tayo sa completing the audit. And number 9, forming an opinion. Okay? Forming an opinion, next meeting, di-discuss natin yung different types of opinion as well as the auditor's report. Okay? Yun yung number 9 natin. Yan lahat ng completing the audit procedures. Again, ginagawa natin yan bandang March to April. Required procedures yan. Okay, so hopefully na-discuss ko na maayos. Let's have a short break before we discuss our handouts.